where all of a sudden that flow from that more of an offshore flow instead of coming from off the land came on of the ocean, and all that moisture and all that cold air right above it, and it produces a big amount of snow across the region, and in particular in the Juneau area. And you can see from that we started right after 2026 in December, it really hadn't stopped throughout the period. And in that total, you can see that we had about 82 inches of snow. And since the new year, we added an additional 9.3. And so that's almost our annual amount of snow that we got in. Just over our annual normal, regular normal snowfall is 87 inches. And currently, that did break December record for snowfall for the International Airport, which was from 1964. It didn't break the all-time record snow for the month, which was February of '65. That was at 86 inches of 86 inches of snow.
Okay, incredible numbers here. Just looking at that period, 27 through 30th, we got almost a foot a day. It's really a world record. I was asking about that. Have you seen this before? You said it was quite the record for the monthly snow, so it's not quite like this has happened.
Not in this December. This is December record from 1964, but not the all-time the second. And we have seen this in the past, and more recently, we did see this in January of 2024. That's a little situation where we did have a lot of snow leading up to it, and then it didn't rain right after it.
And that's a question that leads me on here. The liquid equivalent has got a tremendous amount of snow with the liquid equivalent, and now we're looking at warmer temperatures and possibly rain on top of that. Can you speak to the flooding concerns then ahead?
Yeah, so right now, the amount of liquid that's in our snowpack back here at the forecast office is about 8.2 inches of liquid in that snowpack. And with the anticipated heavy rains that are coming in through tomorrow, we will see some snow at first, but then it's going to turn all to rain, and we're going to see anywhere from 1 to 2 to 3 inches of liquid rain fall in the snowpack. And so our main concerns is a lot of poor drainage areas, a lot of our culverts, a lot of drainage passes are fairly clogged with snow. So we're anticipating seeing a lot of ponding and poor drainage areas across the area in Juneau and the northern panhandle areas, where a lot of those streets are covered with snow, and it's getting difficult for us to even move the snow where
that leads me to my next question right again here. Where do you put all the snow? I mean, what the heck do you do with it? Eventually, it's got to go somewhere, right?
Yeah, and that's an issue that the city is trying to deal with. I know there's some stipulations where they're able to move some of the snow into the ocean, where due to some environmental concerns, they can't really do that with all the snow, but they have had some places that they're able to move some snow into the ocean and water. But it is a problem. We are trying to, the city is trying to deal with that right now, especially with anticipated warm up and then making it more difficult to move later on.
And there was an emergency declaration because of the amount of snow in the city of Juneau. Is that correct?
Yeah, so the governor and the city has declared an emergency for this event, and mainly that is due to the amount of snow on the roofs and the amount of weight on the roofs. We have had multiple accounts of some roofs failing in certain places, and some boats sinking from just the weight of the snow on it. So I think they're trying to anticipate some help to the community in that regard.
Yeah, notice some of those images coming in of the snow just weighing down those boats, which are just sinking. I'm not sure I've ever seen anything like that. Now, we've been talking about the Juneau area in particular. Is this have we seen record snow for the month of December across the entire panhandle, or was it really localized into the Juneau area?
The more long-term climate records we have for these events is in Juneau, so we can go back far in history. But there has been some other notable records broken up in Haines, Alaska, and Kahuna to the west of here, and Cascada. So there's been definitely a lot of records, snowfall records did break for this event over the northern portions of Southeast Alaska.
And we have a little less than a minute, so wrapping this up, what else is there anything that you'd like to share with folks there who might be in the area who might be a little worried about the potential flooding coming on up here?
I would say if you have any, clear your store drains around if you can find them. Clear the store drains so that whenever the rain does come later on tomorrow into Saturday and Sunday, so we will stay warm. Just to make sure that the water can drain and be aware of your surroundings and your homes and just watch out for that snow at the same time because that weight is going to be increasing through time.
Right, with that additional moisture coming on in. All right, hydrologist, meteorologist Aaron Jacobs out of the Weather Service of Juneau, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Listen, Clyde, that much.
I like him. He's kind of funny.
I promise these fans a show tonight, all right?
Oh! It was a complete particle reversal.
Can I go now? Break your nose now, okay? That was hated you. If it was hated you. I didn't know that. Yeah, a lot of people know.
This means everything to us. You never let the truth die. We embrace our true identity and we deliver total, non-stop action. This is the place to be and no one does it better, baby. The world hears us. The world is us. It's as real as it gets. This is TNA Wrestling.
This is insane.
Trend.
All the hype. Wow. All the time.
Okay, I like that.
BET, Tyler, very common.
Can you direct your attention to the screen, please?
Welcome.
I think that's a great idea.
Let's talk about your Western regional forecast as we take you to Moores Creek Summit, Idaho. Looks gusty, looks snowy out there in Idaho from this past week. We've got some heavy rain for Washington. That's kind of the main component of what we're tracking in the forecast today, but many of us are actually pretty quiet, and we've still got some gusty winds in Montana. So let's just start with what we are dealing with here across Washington. This is where all the moisture is really expecting to streamline in, especially out towards the Olympic Range and up into the northern Cascades. But by Tuesday afternoon, things are quiet, and even through Wednesday, we're not really necessarily looking at a lot of heavy rain in addition to what's on the way today. And you can see it is still heavy, what we're dealing with through the rest of the day today, especially out towards the coastal areas, the Olympic Range, and again, the northern parts of the Cascades. We've also got some snow into the northern extent of the Cascades, moving into far northern Idaho and into Montana. Temperature-wise, here's what things are looking like today. Spokane, 41 degrees, 56 in Eugene. If you're in Boise, 43 degrees. Winds overall light for us here. Temperatures tonight and into tomorrow morning dropping down to 26 in Boise, 41 in Portland, 39 out in Coos Bay. Over the next couple of days, you're not going to see a lot of change or variation in these temperatures. They're going to stay pretty consistent in the 50s. If you're in Seattle, temperature is going to be around 50 degrees Thursday, Friday, and into the weekend. And notice how dry things are as we move away from today and tomorrow. Portland, Oregon, a drier forecast for you here as we move through the next week. Temperatures in the low to mid 50s. We do have a couple of wind alerts up in parts of Montana through the day today. Great Falls, some gusty conditions out there, 20, 30 mile per hour winds. Could see some peaks that are a little bit higher than that as well, but just know it's going to be a bit breezy, a bit gusty over the next couple of days. Temperatures today in Casper, Wyoming, 43 degrees, 51 if you're out in Billings, Montana, Cheyenne, about 53 degrees today. Over the next couple of days, you'll even see some 60s coming into play, so we could be breaking some record high temperatures as we go towards the middle to later part of the week as a ridge of high pressure kind of builds its way farther to the north, keeps things dry and keeps things warm. So you've got a little bit of precip out there, but nothing that's going to be really impactful to the region over the next couple of days. Billings, Montana, Tuesday, Wednesday, looking ahead to potentially, again, breaking some of those record high temperatures is going to be possible. Cheyenne, Wyoming over the next week, looking like a pretty dry forecast. Temperatures are going to be in the 50s, overnight lows in the 30s. If you're in Glasgow, Montana, a little farther to the north, in the 30s today, and then climbing into the 40s this week before we drop back down as we make our way towards the later half of the work week and into the weekend. Want to bring in Kevin. Let's talk about what's happening across the Southwest.
Yeah, we had a lot of snow in Colorado, New Mexico. We avoided the worst of it, though, didn't we, here in right along the Front Range late last week?
Yeah, I mean, I was supposed to drive up to the mountains, and I didn't because I didn't want to be stuck in traffic. And seeing all these views,
anyway.
Yeah, I think I would have gotten stuck in traffic for sure.
Yeah, and that's always kind of the thing we got to weigh out, right? Is Centennial State residents out there. Do we go up? Do we stay down? Right as we get into the Front Range. Hey, if you're staying down or staying up, it's going to be breezy in some spots here. A lot of places with wind advisories. As of Monday this weekend, high pressure though, I kind of alluded to it, it's going to build. It's going to take over for a lot of us. So a lot of that quiet weather coming right back. So is the warm stuff. Yeah, we've talked about that before, haven't we? As we've gotten into this part of the country. Looking at some of the snowfall totals again, places like Rabbit Ears Pass, again, that's where you get stuck is you get higher up in elevation. The I-70 corridor, I'm sure, had its fair share of issues. No issues today, though. 51 degrees in Denver, 42 back toward Grand Junction, Salt Lake City, right at 40 degrees. They're just kind of stuck under that high pressure system. So staying a little cooler, I guess, as we get back toward Utah. Otherwise, not a whole lot doing as we get into the next 3 days. I just ran that all the way through your Wednesday. Barely clouds in the afternoon skies here as we go forward. So we'll tack on a degree just about each day into Salt Lake City. Kind of bounce around in Denver from the mid to upper 50s as we go through the first half of this week. Maybe not quite as warm as what our counterparts up north in Denver. Colorado Springs hanging out in the 40s. Looks like each of the next couple of days. And places like New Mexico picking up kind of the winners of this most recent system, a foot or two of some snowfall here with the latest round moving through. Santa Fe, though, looking at 41 degrees this afternoon, right there with them as Flagstaff. And it's kind of the southeastern corner, this little pocket of Arizona. It's probably going to be the windiest that we see. Some of these gusts approaching 40 and 50 miles per hour later on today. Temperatures otherwise, though, again, kind of creeping up on us as we get into the next couple of days. A lot of sunshine will certainly help us do that as we've got high pressure everywhere you look except for the far western reaches there of the Lone Star State. We should stay dry as we get into the next couple of days here, largely all the way into Wednesday. There's a reason why. In the upper levels of the atmosphere, this thing is going to be kind of calling the shots again as we get into Wednesday. Thursday, potentially. Big ridge of high pressure is going to keep things fairly quiet. It's also going to kind of push us at least close to record territory over the next couple of days. Windy in Southern California as well, and the winds out here come with an added benefit. Saturated soils, maybe knocking down some trees a little bit easier. I think for the most part, we can avoid a lot of the big-time issues that we were once upon a time concerned about. But higher elevations, yeah, the Southern California mountains, that's where we're going to be seeing some of those higher-end winds as we get into today. And it looks like it's going to be sticking around as we get into tomorrow as well. Temperatures hanging out in the 70s, warming into the 80s on the other side of this in Los Angeles. Wednesday into Thursday, some of the warmest days this week.
Braxton Family Values WeTV is your destination for all things Braxton.
This is incredible.
Oh my God! So exciting.
All the sisters,
I love you.
all the drama,
It's your life. Oh my God.
all in one place.
I'm there.
Because when it comes to the Braxtons, too much is never enough.
Oh.
Braxton Family Values WeTV.
Gordon Ramsay himself is going to be cooking our meals.
Jeff, what are you guys doing here? No.
I got a stadium with the greatest players of all time. Serena Williams, Aaron Judge, Cristiano Ronaldo, even David Letterman.
David Letterman!
Good luck. We actually got Madison Beer to go on a date with Nolan. How's the weather?
How's the weather?
All right, Tom, you can start trying.
That happens so fast.
Everybody has something that means too much to be thrown away, and that's where we come in.
It's kind of where the magic happens.
Every piece has its own story.
The amount of talent in that barn is fantastic.
How did you do this? Oh my goodness.
I can feel his presence just by holding it.
It's breathtaking.
Welcome back into Weather Nation, out to Snowshoe Mountain Resort. I promise, kind of hard to tell, but yeah, there's skiers, snowboarders out there as we got into earlier today. Boy, West Virginia taking it on the chin. We've got a little bit of some squally snow working into the picture as well as we go forward. Some pretty healthy snowfall reports coming out of largely the Great Lakes area, but this is what we've got on the board left as we've gotten into the late morning, early afternoon hours into parts of the Northeast. Still watching out for some slick roads. Again, that's going to be kind of the biggest concern that we've got going throughout the rest of your Sunday, especially if you get caught under one of these kind of more intense bands. You can kind of pick those out. Let's get around the Syracuse, back towards State College, Pittsburgh, over towards Somerset as we get into Pennsylvania. That threat's going to be with us into this afternoon and into this evening, probably winding down on the other side of 8 o'clock or so. if you've got any sort of traveling to do in parts of the Northeast. Our next system, and again, it's closer to a bump in the road than a true bona fide system, will slide in overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. Might just kind of keep the snowflakes flying for your Monday. As far as snowfall amounts go, again, far from a blockbuster system by any means, but still could be impactful enough, especially if you find yourself out on the roads. Our next big time system, that one's going to be moving in as we get closer toward the middle of this week, and it's got even more cold air with it. It's got even more moisture to work with, so more snow chances, more rain chances here into parts of the Ohio River Valley as we move into the middle of this week. Let's talk about that and where it could get a little interesting, places like Broadway. As we get you out to Nashville, looks like things all quiet for now, but the weather's not going to be terribly quiet, at least toward Wednesday and Thursday.
Yeah, and I have a question, Kevin. There's a Kansas City flag there. Why do they have that in Tennessee?
They must not have gotten the news that we're not in the playoffs anymore, I guess. I don't know. It must be a Chiefs bar or something.
Well, all that energy is going to be moving its way south as well, bringing some moisture to the southeast as well as some snowfall too. Look at how deep that low digs down as we head into late this week, bringing those temperatures much cooler in comparison to average. Let's show you what the forecast highs are looking like because you can see that steep temperature drop. Montgomery, Alabama, we go from the high 50s to the low 40s moving into Thursday, even seeing 30s coming into play for your highs in Atlanta. So that puts down some of those forecast low temperatures to the 20s at times this coming week. And then it's the moisture side of things we've got to watch for. There are some snow chances that'll be possible, mostly rain, but notice that we could see a little bit of that snow out to parts of Tennessee, North Carolina, and then we'll just continue to see a little bit of an active forecast farther south after things have been on the quieter end, it seems. Rainfall-wise, it's not looking incredibly heavy or impactful. Just know that there's some moisture on the way. Snow side of things, one of our forecast models has some of the snowfall across Tennessee, even kind of clipping into northern Georgia. Some of that keeps it away from much of the southeast, but still up towards North Carolina. Let's take you out west, up into the northwest, Forks, Washington. Things are going to stay pretty soggy out there today.
Yeah, nice and gloomy as you would expect in the Pacific Northwest coastal areas of Washington. That's going to be kind of the area we're watching as we get into these next couple of days. We've got, all sorts of unsettled weather working its way into the picture today. We're watching back behind this. I don't think this is going to necessarily all be headed our way, largely today and tomorrow. This developing system looks like it may jog just a touch to the north. So again, might be dodging a little bit of a bullet there. As far as Viper radar is concerned, again, just passing showers here so far this morning. A far cry from what we've seen at times throughout this morning, been moderate to heavy as we've gone through the Sunday morning commute, whatever it may be out there into the Pacific Northwest. Watching it kind of largely clean up pretty well as we get into the overnight hours. By tomorrow morning, not left with a whole lot unless you're all the way up into Bellingham as we get into Washington itself. And then I think we finally start drying out again as we get into another one of these long stretches without some rainfall. But by then, we may need it. May need to at least dry out at the very least. A couple of inches of some rainfall on the way. And a couple of inches of snow